Thank you very much. We've been researching with my colleague Viken for about 10 years now, and we've been putting bits and pieces together, and it has paid off, obviously. And we have become a point where I'm going to be talking, there's been enough explanation about Viscount Shibusawa. I am going to be talking about the Japanese captain. Izmir, known as Smyrna, was the wealthiest of all Ottoman cities. Located in Turkey's Aegean coast, the cosmopolitan city was known as the Pearl of the Orient. But in 1922, where Greeks were majority, the city also housed sizable Armenian, Jewish, Turkish, European, and American population. September 9, 1922, victorious Turkish soldiers at the end of the 3-year-long Greco-Turkish War, they lit a fire starting from the Armenian quarter and then moved on to the Greek quarter and went on a rampage of rape, pillage, and mass murder. Soon, all but the Turkish quarter was not even touched. The fire lasted 9 days. You can see from the picture how horrible it was. Hundreds of thousands of refugees were crowded on the waterfronts. As the fire approached from the back, they had no place to escape. Some of them fell in the water, some of them swam towards the boats. I guess the sound is lost. Basically, it's showing live pictures of how Smyrna was, and this is the front, the waterfront, where it has been. And you see that there were many churches, a lot of active society, and this is Ataturk, where he ran his troops in there, and these are live footage of the fire of Smyrna. Too bad the sound is not there because there's a lot of explanation. Although, as it was going, there were a lot of, in the harbor, there were 21 military ships, Navy ships. 11 of them were British, 5 were French, 1 was Italian, and 2 large American destroyers. But strict orders have been given from their respective governments not to accept anybody on the boats. So they saw what was going on, but they didn't do anything. The only ship, the first ship, which opened its ladder and allowed people to mount on there, was a Japanese captain. The Allies, the British, French, the Italian, American, ignored the screams of the burning, drowning victims. A nearby Japanese captain acted courageously. We don't know his name yet. We've been working with researchers in Japan, Vikan, myself, and others from Australia. We've known that it's called Tokeimaru, but we haven't found out what is the name of the captain. The Japanese captain was horrified by the massacres and heard the appeals of the refugees. He sent out small boats to pick up as many refugees as possible. The camelists circled the boats. They threatened to sink them. He warned the Turks by telling them that in case of even harming a single refugee's hair, he would consider it as an insult to Japanese flag and would demand an immediate apology from the Turkish government. This was pretty courageous, without even touching base with Tokyo. Seeing the seriousness of the Japanese captain, the camelists decided to let the refugees board the ship. In the wake of Turkish threats, the Japanese action was one of the bravery and outpost display of humanity. 823 refugees from Smyrna who arrived to the island of Piraeus in Greece had tears in their eyes and showed gratitude for the noble act of the Japanese captain and the crew in bringing them to safe shores. You would think 96 years ago, that's what the Japanese captain did, the act of the Japanese captain, would be forgotten. But Berj Jamgochian, who passed away in 2004, he is an Armenian-American organist born in Boston. In 1957, at the age of 27, Berj Jamgochian was appointed organist for the Boston Symphony Orchestra and the Boston Pops. He also performs in the orchestras of Moscow, Japan, Austria, and across the United States. He played for 6 US presidents, the Pope, the British royal family, as well as the imperial family of Japan. He performed at funeral service for John F. Kennedy, actually. But in 1983, the opening ceremony of the temple of Shinji Shumei Kai in Shija, Japan, where he performed in the presence of 40,000 audience. He surprised the audience with his personal story. And I wish if the lady could come, because the volume, if we can open it, because please, it's very important what he says in front of 40,000 people. The audio is, hope that audio, yes.
In 1983, Mesha Summer Hall was completed, and its spacious interior was to find its musical complement when the Rogers Royal 5 organ was installed. The Royal 5 was designed and built for Virgil Fox. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the organ has the highest number of timbres, and some now say that the Royal 5 is the finest digital organ in the world. So Kiichi Koyama acquired the Royal 5 and had it installed in Mesha Summer Hall. And Berj Zamkochian was asked to play for the hall's dedication ceremony. On the day of the hall's opening in May of 1983, before the music began, Mr. Zamkochian suddenly began to speak to the audience.
United States of America, my name is not an American name. I am of the Armenian heritage. Armenia has a very venerable history of 3,500 years. Our country was located at the foot of Mount Ararat, and historians have called it the cradle of civilization. Written in the history book, that wonderful history book of the Armenians, are many beautiful and glorious pages, but there are also some very sad and tragic pages. As the people threw themselves into the turbulent seas of the Bosporus, there were Japanese boats, and the Japanese people came to save thousands of lives of Armenians crying for help. And among one of those who jumped into that turbulent sea was a young boy, and that young boy's name was Nazaret Shamgochian.
His father.
He was my father. So in the names of those thousands of people that were saved by the kindness of the Japanese people, in the name of the son of Nazaret Jamgochian, I am here to offer thanks in behalf of the Armenian nation that still lives. As the son of that boy that was saved in a Japanese boat. Kokoro kara arigato gozaimasu.
He came back year after year to play for his friend who passed away suddenly. And during his funeral, actually, Mr. Jamgochan, for hours and hours he played.
He played elegiac music hour after hour, as thousands expressed their grief by laying flowers in Meisha Summer Hall.
Thank you very much.
Maurice, thank you for that powerful and emotional message.